We are 3 days away from regathering, and we could not be more excited in anticipation of this coming Lord's Day. So the focus of this week's update is, what is it going to look like on this Sunday? So let me share just a few things with you about what it's going to look like and what we need you to help us with on this Sunday, what your expectations should be, and obviously how we need to be patient with each other in this first Sunday back after 12 Sundays of absence in meeting together. So what will this Sunday look like? Let me just start with your entrance. Our service begins at 10:30 in the morning. 10:30 in the morning, our normal meeting time. So 10:30 in the morning. However, doors will not open until 10 o'clock. So doors will open at 10 o'clock for the 10:30 service. So if you come earlier than 10 o'clock, we need to keep those doors locked so we can make sure that everything is cleaned and prepared and in the proper place so that when people come in, we are ready for all of that. So 10 o'clock, the doors will open. You can make your way in through the main entrance, or you can come through the west entrance. Either one will be open. And when I say open, the doors will be physically opened and propped open. Yes, there'll be some greeters, there'll be ushers. They're there to assist you. Any questions that you have or needs that you might have, be sure to ask them, and they can help you with all of that. But 10 o'clock, the doors open. 10:30, just as normal, we begin our worship gathering. What about masks? Are they required? Well, we are not requiring masks, though the CDC recommends that we all wear them, but we're leaving that up to you and your preference and your conviction as to whether you want to wear a mask here. Many of you might choose to wear one as you come in, remove it while we sing. That's up to you. That's your preference. And if you desire a mask and you don't have one, we will have masks available for you at the Welcome Center, so feel free to make use of that. We'll make those available to you as you come in the main foyer. Seating. Let me talk about seating. You can kind of see some of that around me even now. We have taped off every other pew because we have to give attention to one really important factor, and that is physical distancing. And that's the way I like to talk about it. It's physical distancing, not social distancing, because we plan to socialize. So, but we do have to maintain a certain physical distance. And the way we have marked that off here in the sanctuary, I think you'll be able to see it provides the right kind of distancing. But we need to ask you that when you come into the facility, that you work as hard as you can to maintain a 6-foot distance between you and others who are not in your family. So when you're seating, you're sitting down in the pew, you need to maintain a 6-foot distance between you and other family members or individuals who are not in your family. When you're conversing with one another, you need to maintain that same kind of distancing as well. And we encourage you to fellowship, we encourage you to engage in conversation, but maintain that distancing. And so you'll see that provided for you throughout the sanctuary in the seating. Parents, this is going to be really important too. A lot of times your kids may be conversing with some other kids in the area, but if you've got young kids with you, they need to stay with you during this time because of that physical distancing requirement. And I know it's going to be really, really challenging and might even creep in on some of our convictions, but especially this first Sunday back and the first few Sundays back as we start back into this active gathering together again. We're asking you that you simply refrain from handshakes and hugs and those sorts of things, just so that we maintain this kind of physical distancing at this time. That's really one of the requirements that makes it possible for us to have such a widespread use of our facility during this phase of the reopening within our area. So please help us with that. That would be really important for us this coming Sunday. So enjoy the fellowship, but do that in a responsible way. Once we've reached capacity here in the sanctuary, and our ushers are going to be assessing that, we will be using our overflow, and that's in the fellowship hall and in the foyer. The foyer will have audio, and in the coming weeks it'll have video capability, but we will have a video feed going into the fellowship hall, and so there will be appropriate seating there. It'll be in varied groups, 1, 2s, 4s, so singles can be in there, a couple, families. We're going to provide that seating, and a video feed will be going into the fellowship hall. So once we reach capacity here, we'll be using the fellowship hall, or you may just choose to go into the fellowship hall, and that's fine as well. But that will be some of the seating. And in the back here also, we're going to put some additional seating behind the pews so that we can maximize the space that is there also. So there will be some overflow. Now let me talk about a few dynamics within the service itself. One, we are going to be singing. Yes, singing. And honestly, we're going to be doing quite a bit of singing. Now, I realize there have been some reports and some studies that have suggested that it's possible to aerosolize a virus while singing, but singing's a real vital part of what we do when we gather. And we think if we give proper attention to what the county has asked us to do in the physical distancing, we should be fine in celebrating the Lord and worshiping Christ in our singing and encouraging one another through our singing together. And so we're planning to do that. If that's something that you're concerned about, just keep that in mind, and maybe the fellowship hall would be a good place for you, the foyer or some place like that. But here we're going to be engaging in singing the praises of God. We're also going to be taking the Lord's table together, the Lord's Supper. So when you come in on Sunday, you're going to see in the main entrance and at the side entrances and in the fellowship hall, you'll see some tables, and on those tables will be a small little plastic cup that's covered with a plastic cover, and you'll receive a little package of crackers that's individually wrapped and has been pre-wrapped, and you'll receive that. And if you're a family, you just indicate to the person who's standing at the table how many that you will need for your family. Children are going to be required to have their parents affirm if they're getting elements. They need their parents to affirm that to the person who's manning that, and he'll make sure that you get the appropriate number of the elements. And so when you have those, just keep them with you. Some of you might want to put it in the pew in front of you because it should be empty, or just keep it with you until the end of the service, and then we'll give you instruction on what to do. And if you're a family, you'll break off some of that cracker and hand it to your other family members. If you're an individual, just break up a part of that and use that. But it should be pretty self-explanatory when you get here. But just know we plan to take the Lord's Supper, and we plan to do that in a responsible way. And we're really excited for that too, because we get to publicly display the body of Christ again and enjoy communion with the Lord over the Lord's table. Another element is the issue of offering. We're not going to take an offering. I mentioned that last week. We're not going to be taking an offering as a part of the gathering. But of course, you can give your offering in a number of ways. There will be ushers at the welcome desk, and they will have plates, and you can put your offering in that plate, and they'll oversee that and make sure that it's put in the safe. Or you can continue to mail it in or use our online giving. We also have an offering box that's down by the office door. Feel free to use that as well. But we won't be taking an offering during the course of the service. Let me say a word about childcare. That's an important one. When you come into the main entrance, if you're interested in using childcare, we're offering childcare for 0 to 2. So when you come in the main entrance, you will see in the children's hallway, there will be a sign that indicates we have a one-way flow through the children's hallway, meaning if you want to use that, you make your way down to the normal check-in station, and you'll check in. There'll be someone to actually do that for you, and then make your way down to the nursery area, and we have rooms designated for where your children will be and workers for each of those rooms. Everything has been sanitized and cleaned, and workers will be appropriate in handling all of your belongings that come with your child there, and you can drop your child off at that room. And then we are asking everybody to make their way back in the entrance across into the sanctuary that's across from the nursery area. So it's a kind of a one-way. What we want to avoid is, two-way traffic down that hallway. So if you could help us with that and you desire to use childcare, feel free to do that, 0 to 2 years of age. And again, as we've had to say over and over, if your child has any sickness at all, even if you think it's teething or allergies or something along those lines, we're not able to accept children into care with any kind of symptoms or illness or fever or anything along those lines. So just be aware of that. But we're happy to provide child care at least at that level at this time. Let me say just a word to those who are not able to attend, or perhaps those who probably shouldn't come at this time. If you're at a really high at-risk level, or you're very compromised in your immune system, or it's just not time for you to come back yet, that's okay. what we plan to make available is we're going to do our best, and let me just underline that. We're going to do our best to provide a live stream of the service at 10:30 on Sunday morning. So check on our homepage of our website for instructions about the live stream. You should be able to connect there. At 10:30 we'll begin to live stream the service. And afterward, once the service is over, a recording of the sermon will be made available after it's been kind of in the post-production phase, and we can get that uploaded and the captions available and all that's included. All that should be available on Sunday afternoon. So for those who cannot attend on Sunday, we still plan to maintain offering a video of the sermon, and we'll try to live stream the whole service at 10:30 in the morning. So listen, with all of that, there's something we all have to embrace in this process as we come back together, and that's just being patient with each other. Patient if the live stream's not working quite well on your end or our end. Patience with each other in this space. Patience with one another as we try to figure out week to week what this looks like and manage it. But I have every confidence that we're going to do that. We're going to be patient with one another, because what's more important is that we've come together to worship our King. We get to worship Christ, which we have sorely missed being able to do together as a body. And this Sunday we get the opportunity to do that. So we're looking forward to that. So Summit Woods, welcome back. Welcome back. We cannot wait to see you here on Sunday and enjoy praising Christ together with you. I wish it was now, although I'm not prepared yet to preach. And by the way, really pray for me on that. I'm going to be preaching out of Romans chapter 15, and would love for you to be praying for me as I put that together and we talk about what real unity around the gospel looks like. So just a special message for this Sunday back when we come back together as a congregation. I can't wait to be here with you.